The Anker C2000 Gen 2 is a sleek, powerful, and lightweight power station. It claims to have the lowest idle consumption in its class, and it also claims to have the world's fastest AC and solar charging in its class. And while fast charging may be cool, aside from that, is this new power station worth your hard-earned money? So welcome back to the lab where our opinions cannot be bought. Anker is a brand that almost every time we review one of their products, we mention their attention to detail and R&D that just goes into these units. They really put a lot of time and effort into what they're building, and the new Gen 2 lineup they're starting to release on some of their products seems like it might just be some of their best stuff yet. If the performance of this power station can match the look and feel of it, it might just be a slam dunk. As always, we will leave links to this unit in the description down below, as well as any coupons we can get to save you guys some money on it if you're interested. We also have our power station quiz, so if you guys don't know exactly what unit you need, it's a super quick quiz. It spits out an instant recommendation based on your needs. But before we get into our experience with this C2000 Gen 2, we're gonna hit you guys with a super quick spec teardown in case you guys aren't already familiar with this power station. First up, this thing passes the tiny baby lift test. It only weighs about 42 pounds, which is significantly lighter than the old F2000, which was about 67 pounds, which is nice because this one doesn't have the wheels or suitcase handle or anything. It has a 2048 watt-hour battery bank, and it's expandable up to 4 kilowatt hours, which is basically just one expansion battery. In terms of inverter on this guy, you have a 2400 watt output, and you can get power into this guy by plugging it into a regular 120 volt plug in your house. In our testing, it charged from 0 to full in about 88 minutes at 1800 watts. You can also charge this with solar. It has an 800 watt solar input, which compared to the battery size isn't crazy, but if you pair that with the AC charging, you can get this thing up to 2600 watts of input power, and it will charge in about 58 minutes, which apparently breaks some sort of records in its class.
World record holder.
And in terms of the plugs and ports, you obviously have 520 volt regular house plugs on the front. You have a 30 amp plug, which is not a true 30 amps because this is not a 3600 watt inverter, but it is still nice if you had like a small camping trailer or something. That's a great feature. You have 3 USB-Cs, 2 of them are 140 watts, and then you have 1 USB-A. This unit does retain its 12 volt car socket up top. You have your expansion battery port on the side, and on the far side, you have your solar input and your AC input for plugging it into the wall. The screen on this thing is super nice. It's like the Gen 2 screen that they seem to be rolling out in all their products. We really like it. And overall, the build is really nice. It has nice big handles on the side so you can pick it up and carry it around. The plastics feel actually really strong and durable. And they've just done a good job making this look really sleek and modern. It also works with Anker's app, which is one of the better apps when it comes to power stations. You can turn on and off the ports from afar. You can schedule different things and change different settings within that app that you can't do directly from the unit. It works on Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and it has things like your eco mode. You can update it from the app, all those kinds of things. And right now, at the time of filming this video, at least, this unit is on sale for $799, which for what you're getting is honestly like a pretty decent price. The first thing that we really like about this new C2000 is just the abundance of plugs on the front. There is 520 volt plugs and the 30 amp, which is more than a lot of other new units in the space are giving you. The 30 amp is really nice because even if you can't run 3600 watts out of this, if you have like a small camping trailer, or you even want to run this into a very light home backup transfer switch, you can do that with the 30 amp plug, which is a huge pro. And jumping off of the plugs and ports, like the overall new Gen 2 build that they've kind of been throwing at these units is really nice. It actually looks really modern. It's something that if you pulled it out in front of your friends or whatever, they wouldn't be confused as to like, what is that? They're more going to be drawn to it because it actually looks really cool. And the screen is really nice. It's actually really bright, which is a problem that a lot of power stations have that you wouldn't think of. When you put them outside, you can't read the screen. Like you have to get right up close to it and block the sun to see what's happening. These are nice and bright and clear, like their new little bar that goes across the top and then just has your battery percent in the middle. It's very easy to understand what's going on. You can see it in all different lighting conditions, and we really like that. You can also adjust the brightness of the screen in the app. So if you're camping with this and you have it in your tent and you don't want it so bright, you can turn it way down so it's not blinding you. You can still have it on and read what's going on without it being an actual flashlight. We also like that the buttons are very like clicky now. Anker used to have buttons that like really didn't do much when you pressed them. It didn't feel like you were doing anything. You had to wait to see if it was even going to turn on if you clicked it right. It's a stupid little thing, but the buttons being much more like tactile is going to give people a much better experience when they're using a power station like this. We also really like that Anker's support is the best in terms of portable power station brands out there right now. We've mystery shopped a ton of these brands, and Anker is like the only one that when you call them, you can actually get someone who understands the product and can help you. And if you're just trying to buy something, they can help you understand what actually fits your needs. Most other power station brands is just a complete dumpster fire when you actually call them. So good job to Anker on that. And overall, the testing results in our experience were actually really good. We found that they advertised a 9-watt idle consumption. Our testing showed that just having the AC plugs on, so maybe you have something like a sump pump on, it turns on every once in a while, but you need these plugs on ready for when that sump pump needs power. If you just have this thing turned on and sitting in the corner, it uses about 18 watts, which is not the worst. Compared to other units in its class, it's kind of average. I think their 9-watt is probably just idling with the USB plugs on and the screen on. They're probably advertising like the lowest idle consumption possible. If you're running these plugs and they're just sitting there on, it's about 18 watts, which is fine. In terms of efficiency, it was about 89%, which is huge. That's like better than most other power stations. It charged from 0 to full, like we said earlier, in an hour and 18 minutes using a regular house plug in your home. And the fans on this unit were actually really quiet. When you're running this thing under its maximum load capacity, it really doesn't make any noise. Like we brought it from 100% almost all the way down, running at its full capacity, and you really don't hear anything. Which is nice because if you have it in like a small camper or a tent, or even just near you in your home, you don't have to listen to it just humming along as it's powering things. It's really quiet. This is one of the first units Anker's had that's actually been really nice and quiet like this. The solar input works fine. It surges really well. We were able to briefly get this thing to about 6,000 watts of surge, which is actually really good for a small unit like this. And the UPS works better than most other power stations. Most other power stations, if they only charge at 1,800 watts, if you're running a 2,000 watt load, it'll turn off the charging and just have your load coming out. In this case, if you're running 2,000 watts and charging it at 1,800, it will continue to charge at 1,800 while dispersing 2,000, which is something that most units just don't do. And we honestly just think that this unit is kind of like the best of both worlds. It'll run your fridge for more than a day. It's good for light home backup. You can buy the expansion battery if you need a little bit more power. And with the 30 amp, you can not just take it camping, but you could use it in like a small RV trailer, or even something like Health and Safety's tiny home. He runs the F3000, which is a little bit bigger, but this would be something that you could use to power something like that, which is just a really nice buy. There is some things that we don't love about this unit though, and as you guys could probably have already guessed, the first one is there's no light. Anker was one of the only companies giving us lights on like all their power stations, and these Gen 2s, all of a sudden they started taking the lights off them, and these are like small portable units that you would take camping. They're heavy enough that you're still gonna pick them up with 2 hands to carry them around, so having any sort of light on the front, I don't know why they ditched the unibrow. Anker makes no sense. Put the light back on a unit like this. It just makes sense. People like the light. We also didn't love the rubber feet. A lot of power stations have feet like this so that it kind of just like grips the ground better. When you plug a plug into it, it doesn't slide away, but these feet are like not very grippy. It just feels like it's plastic sitting on the table. Like it doesn't stay still at all. It's got no grip at all. So if you had this sitting somewhere and you were driving, it's gonna be moving around. When you go to plug stuff into this, if you just push the cord, it moves. So you gotta kind of hold it. It's an interesting thing, but most power stations with rubber feet have some sort of grip. These ones don't. And the only other thing that we really didn't like with this was we just think it could have a little bit of a bigger solar input. I get that when you mix it with AC, it's got some record-breaking speed, but most people aren't charging it with AC and solar. This is gonna take over 2 hours to charge just with the solar port, which is not bad. But sometimes when you're camping or you're on the go, if you could squeeze that power in a bit faster, it's just nicer. So is this the right power station for you? Honestly, we think this is a really good entry-level unit. This is something that gets you into portable power. It doesn't cost a whole lot, and it's great for all kinds of things. This can run your fridge for over a day. You could take this tailgating, you could take this camping, and if you start to grow out of it, you can buy an expansion battery. You can add some storage to it, which is really, really nice. And like we said earlier, with the 30 amp plug, you can use this for more than just camping. You can actually power a small trailer or something like that with a unit like this. So if you're just getting into the market and you want a power station that actually performs really well, It's from a trusted name brand and gives you the ability to grow with it a little bit in the future. This is probably a really good option. Like we said, we will leave discounts to this unit in the description down below. We also have the quiz down there. So if you're still unsure of what power station you need, you can do the quiz real quick. It'll spit out an instant recommendation for you based on your needs. Otherwise, that's pretty much all we got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will catch you next time. Peace out and stay charged.